Are 50 and 60-year-olds the new chronic unemployables in this country? I think the answer has to be a definitive yes. We all know that ageism is a thing. It's happening, and it's happening in full force right now because we have a population of workers, me, myself included, I'm 59 years old, who are still in the workforce, but we can't retire because we can't afford to live on retirement income, right? We still have expenses. We still have mortgages. We still have college to pay for. We still have all kinds of things to go on. And if we retire, it's not going to work out. And so we cannot retire. We have to keep working. If you took a poll right now, I don't have any scientific evidence, but I would imagine that, a huge portion of the over late 50s, early 60s population says they'd like to retire, but they can't. That's just the reality of it. But this is a quandary. It's a quandary for the corporate, for the corporate douche, because they want to get rid of older workers, right? They want to get rid of us. Why? Why do they want to get rid of us? Well, we cost more. We've been working for a long time. Obviously, over the years of working, our income has gone up, right? Rightfully so. As we gotten more experience, become more valuable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we make more money. They don't like that. They don't like paying people their worth. What they'd rather have are young, stupid people who have bought into the con of what was promised in the to the American worker. They've bought into it. They haven't learned their lesson yet. And so they'd rather have those kinds of people who are going to work longer hours, do it for less pay, convince them that they're part of something bigger, Yeah, I just want you to realize when you come to work here, you're part of something bigger than yourself, some kind of a mission. It's like, oh yeah, I just thank you, man. I always wanted to sell widgets for the people, man. The dream of bringing widgets to the masses is so important to me. That's what they want you to buy into that shit. And so younger people, of course, young, naive, hungry, you do buy into that stuff, and you'll work harder, you'll work longer, and you'll do it for less money. So given the choice between the younger, harder worker who's going to do it for less money and the older, more established worker who makes more money and has realized what the truth is about this situation, which is I am a pay for hire person. Okay. You're going to pay me, sure, but I'm only going to do the amount of work that I'm getting paid for. I'm not going above and beyond. I'm not going to do extra. That's stupid because I know I don't get anything for that. So they don't want that. They want the young person. And that means they want to get rid of us. And you know what? They do get rid of us. And there's a lot of ways to do it. They can't just fire you for your age because that's, illegal. But they have a lot of different tactics and tricks up their sleeves in order to make life miserable for older workers. So we leave on our own. And then, like Pontius Pilate, they could wash their hands of any sort of crime, any sort of discrimination. And they have a lot of ways to do that. Number one, they could just make you uncomfortable, right? They start to make you uncomfortable. They start to give you little nicknames at the work, old man, grandpa, slow mover, the turtle, all this kind of stuff. And you start feeling like you start feeling older. There's a little bit of a spotlight shined on to you because you're the older person in a sea of millennials and Gen X worker bees who are still part of the robot system. So they start to do that. Number two, they start to, kind of diminish your role unofficially. You don't get invited to as many important meetings as you used to get invited to. Or there are projects that are important projects for the company that you normally would have led. You would have been in charge of those things, but suddenly your name is off of that. It's not there anymore. And the Gen X kid or the Gen Z millennial woman who just started is leading the charge, for $15 an hour. So that starts to happen. Another thing they do to get rid of older people is they start to pile on busy work. They start to give you more and more work which adds to your stress level, and it produces a sense that you can't keep up, and they stack work and work and work. And what does that do to not only older people, but to everybody else? It stresses us out. We start having to work later and longer to keep up. We start to have anxiety, sleepless nights, and they do that in an effort to make life so effing uncomfortable that, especially if you're older, you're going to say, I can't do this anymore. I'm too old for this shit. I'm just going to quit. I'm going to retire. That's it. And I've seen this happen. I worked at a place where new management comes in and they want to get rid of the old timers there, and they made their lives so miserable. I mean, they turned the screws on these bastards. They gave them more work. They made them do they added all this training for new tech stuff that they would never use on their jobs. They piled so much stuff on them that these poor people who had been at the job for 25, 35, even 40 years would get sick. They would actually get sick. And sometimes they would get so much work that they would take, I shit you not, they would have to call in sick and take sick days so they could catch up on their work at home, so they wouldn't fall behind. I've seen it happen. It's a real tactic. It's called managing them out, and it happens. And it's happening to people, especially in their 50s and their 60s. So that's what happens. They want us out. They want us gone. And God knows if they want us gone, we're going to be gone one way or another. But they're going to try to do it in a way that they're not responsible, like I said, that where they don't have to pay severance or the unemployment insurance or whatever it is. They want to wash their hands of it, and that's what they're going to do. So if that happens to you, it's unfortunate, and I feel sorry, but we all have to be on the lookout for that kind of thing. Now, once you're out of work, though, like I said, we still need to work. We need to work. We can't afford to just sit home and collect our Social Security check, or we can't do it. Again, we have mortgages to pay. We have kids to put through school. We have medical bills, whatever it may be. We can't afford to sit home. But good luck finding another job. You can go on LinkedIn, and there's story after story after story about people who have been unemployed, people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who have been unemployed for months and months and months and years, and they are unable not only to find a job, they can't even get an interview. And why can't they get an interview? With all that experience, why can't they even get an interview? Why aren't they getting called back if they do get an interview for a second interview? And there's only one reason for it. It's age. Your age. Nobody wants to hire aging workers. I know I'm going to get a comment or two. There are some exceptions here and there, okay? But on the whole, it's extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And that is a problem. That is an issue. Because now we're left professional people, educated, excellent background, experience, knowledge, right? Fortitude, temperament, all the things that make you super, super value are neglected, and you're not going to be able to get a job. And what do we have to do then? We have to take these jobs that are well below what we've earned. Well below what we've earned. Far below in stature to where we've risen to, right? Even though we are still capable, still more than capable of doing our jobs, now we're taking menial jobs. It's an injustice. And it's an injustice that is not going away. It's not going anywhere because you can't prove it. It's impossible. And there's no consequences for it. In fact, just the opposite, because the more these companies can get rid of older, more expensive workers, guess what? The better the margins are. And when the margins are better, stock price goes up. And we all know that life in America is all about one thing and one thing only, and that is the price of the fucking stock. So happy sailing, everybody. I don't have the answers. I just want you to be on the lookout I want you to be on the lookout so to notice some of these signs that it may be happening to you. If you like this video, and I hope you did, please like it and maybe even subscribe. And if you didn't, let me know. Let me know why. Certainly, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but if you can help me out, that'd be great. No pressure. No pressure.